Wonderful. Let's read 1 Samuel chapter 3. And the child Samuel ministered unto the Lord before Eli, and the word of the Lord was precious in those days. There was no open vision. And it came to pass at that time, when Eli was laid down in his place, and his eyes began to wax dim, that he could not see, and ere the lamp of God went out in the temple of the Lord, where the ark of God was, and Samuel was laid down to sleep, that the Lord called Samuel, and he answered, Here am I. And he ran unto Eli and said, Here am I, for thou callest me. And he said, I called not, lie down again. And he went and lay down. And the Lord called yet again, Samuel. And Samuel arose and went to Eli and said, Here am I, for thou didst call me. And he answered, I called not, my son, lie down again. Now Samuel did not yet know the Lord, neither was the word of the Lord yet revealed unto him. And the Lord called Samuel again the third time. And he arose and went to Eli and said, Here am I, for thou didst call me. And Eli perceived that the Lord had called the child. Therefore Eli said unto Samuel, Go, lie down, and it shall be, if he call thee, that thou shalt say, Speak, Lord, for thy servant heareth. So Samuel went and lay down in his place. And the Lord came and stood and called as at other times, Samuel, Samuel. Then Samuel answered, Speak, for thy servant heareth. And the Lord said to Samuel, Behold, I will do a thing in Israel, at which both the ears of every one that heareth it shall tingle. In that day I will perform against Eli all things which I have spoken concerning his house. When I begin, I will also make an end. For I have told him that I will judge his house forever for the iniquity which he knoweth, because his sons made themselves vile, and he restrained them not. And therefore I have sworn unto the house of Eli, that the iniquity of Eli's house shall not be purged with sacrifice nor offering forever. And Samuel lay until the morning, and opened the doors of the house of the Lord. And Samuel feared to shew Eli the vision. Then Eli called Samuel and said, Samuel, my son. And he answered, Here am I. And he said, What is the thing that the Lord hath said unto thee? I pray thee, hide it not from me. God do so to thee, and more also, if thou hide anything from me, all the things that he said unto thee. And Samuel told him every whit, and hid nothing from him. And he said, It is the Lord, let him do what seemeth him good. And Samuel grew, and the Lord was with him, and he did let none of his words fall to the ground. And all Israel from Dan to even to Beersheba knew that Samuel was established to be a prophet for the Lord. And the Lord appeared again in Shiloh, for the Lord revealed himself to Samuel in Shiloh by the word of the Lord. Woo-hoo-hoo. Woo. Okay. 1 Samuel chapter 3. So when we see the boy was ministering to the Lord in the presence of Eli, it's just saying Samuel was serving in the tabernacle. So what happened with Samuel's mother? His mother Hannah was not conceiving when she wanted to, and she was married to a man who had another wife, and the other wife had children. So the other wife would tease Hannah about it, and Hannah, it made her very sad. So she was praying one day. Eli heard her, and he assumed she was drunk. She told him no, she was just sorrowful. And he told her that, whatever you desire, God will give it to you. So she went home, she conceived, and she promised God that, before Eli saw her, she promised God if she had a boy child that she would dedicate him back to God. So she had a boy child. She named him Samuel, and she brought him to the temple to be dedicated to God, you know, to keep her vow. So now Samuel is living with Eli, and he's serving in the church. It also says here in verse 1, we learn that the word of the Lord was rare. There was no frequent vision. So meaning there wasn't that much communication. And that would make sense because we see the communication that God has had with Israel since the book of Judges. So that makes sense. The last time that God spoke, he sent a man of God in the previous chapter. It was in verse 27. There came a man, and he told Eli that, you're going to have to pay for knowing that your sons are wayward and not doing anything about it, because his sons were priests too, and they were not honoring their positions as priests. So, okay. So Samuel is serving in the house of God. The word, communication from God was rare. Eli began to get blind, and Samuel was lying down in the dark. So God called Samuel. Samuel assumes it's Eli. He runs to Eli and says, "Here I am." Eli says, "I didn't call you. Go lay down." So verse 6 is the second time God calls Samuel. Samuel went to Eli. And then it also says in verse 7, Samuel did not know the Lord, and the word had not been revealed. So he was innocent. So, verse 8, God called Samuel again. He told Eli, "Here I am." And then Eli recognized the pattern that God was talking to him. And he told Samuel, "If you hear the voice again, say, 'Speak, Lord, for your servant hears.'" So in verse 10, God called him again, and Samuel followed Eli's instructions. "Speak, for your servant hears." So then the Lord said to him, uh, this is repeating the prophecy that was made in 1 Samuel chapter 2, verse 27 through 36, what we just looked at. The importance of that is, one, when we see prophecies being made, they're confirmed. And you also see that prophecies are not being made, so frequently. Not saying that they can't be, but just remember, this is not a different prophecy. This is a different source for the prophecy. So basically, he's just saying, I'm gonna, God speaks to Samuel again, and Samuel answers and says, "I'm speak for I'm listening." And then God tells him, like, "Yeah, I'm gonna fulfill all that I told Eli I would. I'm gonna punish his house because he knew about the evil, and he didn't do anything about his sons." Samuel lay there disturbed because he doesn't know what he's gonna say. Eli then asks him, like, "What did God tell you?" And told him, "Don't hide it from me." So Samuel told him. And Eli says, "Well, it's the Lord. Let him do what seems good." Samuel grew. The Lord was with him. He was an established prophet. The Lord appeared again at Shiloh to reveal himself to Samuel. Thank you for watching. I love you. Have a wonderful day.